Hi everyone, my name is Rishi. I'm the co-founder of Digital Scholar, and today on the Expert Talk, we have Derek Perkins from the Nozzle team. He's the founder of Nozzle app, and I'm so excited to have you, Derek.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Derek, before we get started, what is the story of your life, and why did you start Nozzle?
Sure, I've always been entrepreneurial, even when I was 5, 6 years old, started mowing lawns for my family and neighbors. And then when I was 12, we moved to China for my dad's work. And so I grew up in Beijing, and I sold pearls and Beanie Babies and had a couple of different businesses I ran out of there um, that I imported back to the US. Then at the end of high school, I started my first software company called Pocket Innovations. And for those of you, if any of you are old enough to remember when Microsoft had Pocket PCs,
Hmm.
I made database software for them. Uh,
Wow.
and so that was fun. And then after that, I always hated the chairs that I sat on while I was coding. Uh, and I went to Taiwan for 2 years to serve a mission for my church. And while I was there, I found these chairs that had made out of bungee cords across the seat, and they were
Hmm.
comfortable. They had airflow. It was I'm actually sitting on one right now, and so I came back and I said, all right, I'm gonna switch gears away from software. I'm gonna do some import, export, and so we started manufacturing and selling office chairs. Pretty
Wow.
random.
Hmm.
Did that for several years until the economy collapsed in 2009. And then I was like, okay, I'm back to software. Started SEO. I did a website with my brother, soccerreviews.com. And that was a lot of fun. That's actually what got me into SEO. And we got to go to South Africa in 2010 with media passes. It was pretty sweet. And yeah, so I've always been very entrepreneurial and kind of love what I do. And the internet's obviously, you know, where the business is happening.
Perfect. I definitely internet where the people are and is where the business is. Now, getting to the technical aspects. Now, let's say a beginner is watching this interview right now. What would be your advice on getting started with SEO? So let's say there's a local business coming to you and he says, "Hey, I want to get ranked for like 3 keywords." What would be the checklist for him to get ranked in the shortest time possible?
Sure. So step one is you've got to have at least a decent website foundation. Uh, I am partial to WordPress myself, especially, to just get things up and running. I saw a report just this week said that 77% of the internet runs on PHP, and,
Mm,
probably somewhere a third to half of that is straight from WordPress, right? There's plenty of plugins that'll help you, at least get started. You've got sitemaps, you've got things that'll auto submit uh, uh,
right.
your URLs to Google and other search engines. So like out of the box, it's pretty good. It's been a while. I haven't done a whole lot with like the Wix and Squarespace of the world. I've heard
Mm,
mixed reviews, but I know they've got some good teams, at least trying to make that experience better.
right.
But yeah,
Right.
step one is making sure that you don't make a dumb mistake and accidentally tell Google, sorry, don't index my site. I don't want to rank, which
Right.
happens even at, big Fortune 500 companies more often than you might guess.
True. 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 So first
So
step
yeah,
is
step
building a
one.
website.
Yep.
Building. Yep.
And then step two is just writing some good content. It's going to start with some understanding of who your audience is. I think a lot of people, when they hear the word SEO, their brain just jumps back to what it was 20 years ago. Oh, I need to have my keyword listed 20 times and I'm going to use it 1,000,000 times in the copy of my website. And honestly, like, there's definitely some, technical analysis that can go into it. But for someone just starting, write content that your audience will find useful. And that's what Google is trying to do. And yes, there's stuff that you can do to tweak things, before or after the fact. But if you don't have content that anyone cares about, it's hard to make anything stick.
True.
And as an entrepreneur and someone who's running your business, it's hard to outsource that. I mean, I know, right? You're wearing a ton of hats as a local business. You're, the accountant, you're making the pies or whatever your local business is. You're doing the website, you're doing everything. But at the same time, it's hard to find someone who can speak with authenticity and who really understands your audience. So it's hard to outsource that. And one thing I think that has changed, and at least for me, is before content felt like, oh, I just, let someone else write it and it just has to be okay or good enough. But honestly, a good content will deliver you visitors to your website for years to come. So
Right.
solid investment in really high quality stuff, right? Just spend a day, say, I'm going to take 2 hours today and write something awesome.
Right.
And that'll
So
just pay dividends.
definitely, I think Google loves useful content more than technically or English correct or content. So Google always loves useful content, and that's what I suggest to my audience as well. So yes, first number one checklist: website with the right plugins, useful content, and then what would be the final step if they had to do the SEO right?
So final step would be to just make sure that it's getting published and marketed. So a lot of people, they hear, oh, write good content, and then they stop. They write the blog post or the whatever, and then they're done. But honestly, you can take that time investment and then spin it out into further marketing. You can take that blog post and turn it into a YouTube video. Take that blog post, maybe do a little tweet storm about it. You can repurpose, the same types of content. You can get on a podcast. You can do an interview like this. And you should be spending a lot more time than you realize pushing that content out, because that's what actually gets people to see it, right? And SEO is obviously an important part of that. Doing some outreach, finding relevant sites to link back to you, hopefully with some sort of review from someone with some authority in your area. But yeah, you can't just stop at the content. You have to actually pick marketing channels and push it and continue to push it 10 times more than you think you have to.
Right. Amazing tips there. So it's pretty simple if you look at it. Just create content that's useful and then promote it as much as you can with the right authorities in place. Derek, I come to my next question, which is, what is the best way to build backlinks? What would be your suggestion to build backlinks?
So for me, again, if you write good content, it's something that's likely to be shared and pushed out. So with our soccerreviews.com website, we had links from CNN, from ESPN. We had lots of very high authoritative links that honestly, I didn't really know. We didn't know much about SEO, but we knew a lot about soccer or football for those of you who aren't in America. And they just came because we wrote good content. Like I said before, that's not necessarily the best strategy. It happened to work for us. But one tactic that I think is pretty good is, you've probably heard before, is if you find potentially some other blog posts or articles that have been written that link out to, hey, here are the top 5 tools in your area, or the top 5 restaurants, or whatever your local business is, someone who's already made some recommendations, find some of those, and you can, there's a process called building on dead links. So you look to see if maybe one of their old articles like that ranks on Google is linking to a company that's now dead. And so if you reach out and you say, hey, I've noticed you have this article, but one of the restaurants that you link to is out of business, right? So if I've got my restaurant and I've typed up the replacement, and if you want to, it'll make your article better because you're not linking to some
Wow.
dead restaurant, right? You're providing value to the site as well as building a link back to yourself.
Wow, that's an amazing tip there. So wherever you find dead links, just go figure that out, and then just approach the owner of the blog post and just get your link up there.
Yep. Right. Because anyone who has a website gets a ton of spam about, oh, please post a link, or right. There's a lot of that stuff that people immediately mark as spam. But by providing some value add, you're not just another one of those
Right.
spammers.
Amazing. Perfect, Derek. That's an amazing advice. Do we have any tools that we can make use of, where we just put a website and we can, figure out which are the links which is going to, let's say, 404 error, or which can make our this particular task easy?
Not that I know of offhand. My goal is to make that in the future roadmap of Nozzle. I would
Wow.
like to add some of that extra functionality so that it's just data mining, right? It's okay, here's keywords that I want to track, find some articles that I rank for, and then look for dead links on anything that ranks in the top 10 for those pages. And so you can
Perfect.
do the first half of that with Nozzle today, and then Screaming Frog or another site crawler is probably your best bet after that, to say, okay, here's 100 or 1,000 URLs. Go crawl these pages and look for 404s.
Wow. Okay, makes sense. So we hope we see that feature, because it's an amazing way, to get easy backlinks. So this brings me to my next question, which is, what is the most serious types of Google penalties according to you? Like, which is the most serious, seriously wrong thing you can do to get your SEO nuked for good? So what do you think?
Right, there's a lot of shady practices around cloaking or buying a ton of backlinks. There are companies that they get around some of that they make burner sites that they launch. They know they're going to be taken down by Google in 3 to 6 months, but they buy 1 million or 10 million backlinks, and it, works for a little bit. They make enough money to, offset their costs, and then
Wow.
they do it with the next one. That's obviously not a sustainable business strategy for most people, and not something you'd want to do for your site. So yeah, definitely don't recommend that.
Wow. Okay. So it actually happens. Is buying backlinks a good practice? I mean, do you suggest,
Not at
or
all.
not at all? So it's not like
Yeah,
some companies give you good backlinks, some companies give you fake backlinks. It's, if you buy backlinks, it's bad.
pretty much. I mean, there's always going to be some exceptions. I know there's uh certain sites, like, I mean, I think even like I believe that you can, whether it's through like authors or directly with like a site like Forbes. I know a lot of times you can get some link placements there,
Hmm.
that,
That's
may or may
okay.
not be paid. So, right, there's always going to be some gray area,
Right. Makes sense.
but for the most part, earn your links, and you don't have to worry about getting penalized.
Right. Okay. Now, as people are consuming more videos, what will be the future of text-based content?
I know that's happening. Maybe I'm weird, but I really don't like videos
Hmm.
personally. I can consume a lot more content skimming the text. And so I don't think that text is going away. Uh, and, but by the same token, right, there's a lot more video content happening. We
Hmm.
already know that Google and others are able to index that content. Just
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, Facebook introduced a new open source uh, machine learning and AI library that understands text without translating it or without transcribing it to the written text first. It just directly goes voice to understanding, which is an interesting step as that happens.
Okay, let me get this right. So basically, the open source software, or we can just go check out a video and we can know what people are talking about. So let's say if somebody's searching for the best tool for SEO, and if best tool for SEO Nozzle is being spoken inside the video, that gets ranked on Google. Is that right?
Right, if it's good enough content, then yes. Right, Google. I mean, you can test it already if you go to YouTube and you go to the closed caption, and a lot of times they'll say, right, auto generated subtitles,
Hmm.
and right, they're just transcribing it using AI. So stuff that used to be locked into an audio or video or even an image, right, that's all understandable now. And this is
Wow.
another case where, like I was saying before, where you can repurpose your content, is everyone wants to consume it differently. They want to find it in different channels. So if you make a video, actually, there are companies that you can pay to transcribe it so that you have that text on your website as well as a video on YouTube. And now you have your content in two separate places that, doubles your chance of being discovered.
Wow. Okay. That's an amazing tip to transcribe and just make use of both the platforms and see where you get lucky, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So now, like, what are your unknown growth hacks for ranking faster?
Um, it's a good question. So I don't know that I have any unknown ones. Honestly, the dead link building I think is a really solid one. Another thing you can do is uh, obviously ads can get super expensive, but one thing that you can do with ads much faster than you can do with SEO is you can A/B test titles, descriptions to see what resonates with people. And so I've seen people use that to good effect to, okay, I'm going to run some ads on Facebook or on Google AdWords and see what title performs best for this content. And, within a couple of days, you do it, you can, then change that uh, title or any descriptions on your long form SEO content
Mm.
and get feedback much faster than you would ever be able to do on click-through rates, just by, it doesn't even necessarily cost a ton of money.
Wow. Okay. Makes sense. So perfect, Derek. Now, like, let's say if somebody new comes to you and you have to explain Nozzle in a layman term, how would you explain what does the tool does, or how it can be beneficial for that person, provided he has zero knowledge in the field of digital marketing?
So for that person, what I tell people is we have software that lets you track where you rank on Google. And everyone gets that pretty simply.
Right.
For someone that has a little more understanding, there's a lot of tools that will tell you what you rank on Google, but Nozzle takes it a step further, and we let you pull every piece of information that shows up on their search pages. It doesn't matter if it's product pricing, it doesn't matter if it's free shipping, the number of calories in a recipe, everything that shows up on that page, we make available for you that you can use for whatever data mining purposes you have. A good one that we have, everyone that uses Google, which is pretty much everyone in the world, you see Google always shows like a little block of 4 people also ask questions.
Right.
And that is a great thing that Nozzle offers, is we will extract all of those questions for any keywords that we see, so that you can see what are the questions that people are asking. Am I answering those questions on my website? And so by looking at those, you can build out a quick and easy content calendar to say, okay, here's the priority that I want to start writing new articles, because Google is literally telling me these are the questions that people are asking the most.
Wow. Right. So is competitor analysis possible on Nozzle?
Yep, because we have 100% of the data, you can look at any competitor at any point while you've been tracking a keyword.
Awesome. So, Derek, let's step into. Would you be? I mean, would you be able to show us a demo of the tool right from scratch on, let's say,
Yep.
because my team uses Nozzle. I have tried, but it's very complicated for me because it's so much data here and there. But my SEO manager uses this and he loves it. But I want to understand now, why does he love it? So let's see a quick demo.
Got it. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So can you see my screen?
Yep, all good.
So when you come to Nozzle, you can, read all this exciting text if you want, or you can say, I'd like a demo, or up in the top corner, say start trial, which will take you to app.nozzle.io/signup. This is the first place you show up. I'm already logged in, but I'll log out for the purposes of this call. And so you can choose to sign in with Google, Facebook, or a magic link over email. I'll go ahead and sign in with my Nozzle account. And it shows me some workspaces I already belong to, but we're going to set up a new one. So it's pulled in my name and email from that. And now we're going to set up this new test company. So, so my awesome company. And if you're an agency, you'll want this to be your agency name, because it'll show up in a couple of different places with this slug. And then you'll be able to, after the fact, make separate projects for every one of your clients. So yeah, make sure that this is that. Then you'll go ahead and create that workspace. I may have created that same My Awesome Company too. Let's see. I'll bet that I've already used this slug before. Let's just try that. There we go. So
we still on AppSumo, right? Are we leaving in about a day?
Yep, 30 hours left.
Awesome. I think
it goes till Friday if you're a Plus member, I think.
Got it.
Okay, so as long as you don't pick a slug that's already been used before. Apparently I'm not very creative when I pick my company names. Next thing you'll do is you'll create a project. Again, this will most likely, we autofill it to be the name of your company, because that's probably what you want to do. Again, you'll make a separate projects later
Got it.
for clients if you have that need.
Sure. So workspace
Next,
is basically your agency and your project is basically working on a particular client. Is that right?
yep,
Got it.
exactly.
Got it.
So now we're going to go ahead and set up our account. We'll put in nozzle.io as the domain. If you know your Google My Business ID, you can put it in here. If you know your YouTube username, you can put that in there and we'll import your YouTube videos. So we'll go ahead and set that up.
Okay.
So that's our primary domain or the brand that we're going to track. Then next, we're going to say, okay, let's start adding some keywords. Right now, Nozzle, we don't have a global keyword index that makes it easy to type in your domain and say, what do I rank for? We're focused on tracking keywords that you provide. You can use Google Keyword Planner for that. If you already have a website, you can go to Search Console and do an export from there. Or Moz or Ahrefs, they have keyword explorers that you can get some good output for free. So
Awesome.
we'll just start typing in a couple of keywords.
So just a little bit understanding here. This is for the keywords that we want to rank for, or this is the keywords that we're already ranking. I mean, if
This
I'm
is
an
what you want to track.
we want to
So,
track. Okay.
so whether or not you're ranking for them,
Got it.
right? This is probably the list of keywords that you want to rank for.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Makes sense.
So you'll put those in. You can put in as many as you want. You can choose what device you want to do it on. If most of your people are going to come from a mobile device, you can pick a couple of different devices. Generally, you won't need more than 2. By default, it goes to US English, but you can enter in any location that you have. There's a couple of pre-filled ones, or if you do browse all, this will show we've got a few 100,000 places, and you can switch your country. Where are you at?
India.
India, right? So we can come in, we can say, I want to look at things in India. You can change the language to be anything you want.
Oh, wow.
We'll just stick to English for our purposes here. You can say, okay, do I want to track at the country level, at the city or the state level? And so we can see here. You can track, it's tracking Hyderabad.
Yep.
So you can pick as many specific locations as you want, which is great, obviously, if you're a local business.
Right.
And so you can add as many of those as you want to, hit use locales, and now we'll be tracking in those places.
Perfect. Okay.
And then finally, you can choose one of the unique features about Nozzle is you can be very custom on exactly when we pull your keyword data. And so you can pull your most important keywords every day, but then maybe less important ones weekly or monthly. That lets you get a lot more data without having to spend a ton of money on it.
Got it. So basically you need to optimize your subscription with Nozzle. So you have to use it in the right way.
Correct.
Yep.
So those are going to start pulling for us now. And then finally, this is where you can add as many competitors as you want. So we can add Moz.com. We can add Ahrefs.com. We can add Getstat.com. There's a lot of different, tools out there. And then when we're done, you hit done, and now your account's fully set up. It may take up to 30 minutes when you first start a new account to get data.
All right.
It's usually faster, but depending on exactly when the day and how many people are signing up, we say it can take up to 30 minutes. And then we've got a walkthrough video that'll help you get used to Nozzle. We link out to our help page at help.nozzle.io that will help you get started. There's a lot of documentation here. We're also pushing out a lot of content into YouTube to help people with, getting used to the platform. And then we also at feedback.nozzle.io, this is where our roadmap is. You can vote for features that are already there or ask for other ones to be done.
Wow. Perfect.
And that's it. So now we've got the project set up. And as I said, it'll take a little bit for some data to populate.
Okay.
And I can jump back over to, this is our Nozzle account that has a lot of data in it.
Wow. Okay, this looks like really data science stuff. So can you just explain, I mean, how do we read into this and how can somebody just get this in next 5 minutes, like to understand the data alone?
Yep. So there's obviously a lot going on here. We're going to zoom in really quick. You can click in to see a lot of different types of dashboards. You asked about competitive before, so we'll come here to look at this competitor analysis first. This is one of the more obvious places to start. And you can track things in a lot of different ways in Nozzle. Right now we've set up a bunch of brands, all those competitors that I typed in. You'll see competitors direct and indirect here, as well as things that are owned. And that lets you just see at a broad overview. But if we change this roll-up value to be brand, we're going to see Nozzle versus Moz versus Ahrefs and all the individual companies.
Okay. And what would be the keyword that the keyword is by brand?
So this is showing these metrics across 62,000 keywords that we're tracking.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So it's a lot of keywords. And there's a lot of different metrics. Keywords is, one of the most obvious ones. How many keywords does each of these rank for? Rank shows the average rank. Click-through rate shows that. If you hover over any of these little info buttons, it will give you a better idea of what the metric is. You can also go to nozzle.io/metrics if you want to get a little bit more detail on exactly what all the various metrics are that we provide.
Wow.
So this gives you a high-level overview at all of your competitors, and you can drill in, you can add different keyword groups. So we have a keyword group in here that says, here's the 488 priority phrases for us that are most important. And so now the whole chart's going to show how everyone is doing just for this subset of keywords.
Okay, so priority phrases is about the most important keywords to you.
Correct. So these keyword groups, you can add your own grouping and categories to your keywords that helps you organize and understand them better. So priority this is just something we've called it internally to say, these are the ones we're actively focused on, because you can't actively focus on 62,000 keywords at the same time.
True. Awesome. This is so good. And what else can be done with respect to competitor analysis?
So these brands are limited to just, we've added 13 brands internally, but obviously there's a lot more competition than that. So brands are ones that you say, these are the ones I explicitly want to track. But if you switch to domain, we're going to see every domain, or not. Let me jump. Let's see. You can even see every URL, the top URLs that are ranking, and not just the ones that you're specifically tracking. So for these keywords in the priority group, it's this article by thehoff.com that is doing the best.
Oh, wow.
So this is one way you might go about finding articles to see if you can get a backlink from, is these are the highest ranking and get the most traffic and show up for the most keywords. So I might look at this and say, okay, right, the Hoff is an agency, maybe they'll link to us. SERPstat is software, they probably aren't going to link to Nozzle. But then here we've got shoutmeloud.com, and right, so you can kind of tell.
This person is from, yeah, the Shout Me Loud is from India. He's a friend of ours.
Yep, exactly. So right, so you can start looking at these to say, hey, these are, if I could get a link from here, this is going to drive a lot of traffic because Nozzle's telling me this Shout Me Loud article ranks for 329 keywords and gets an estimated 1.1 thousand clicks a month.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. And see, what are the pixels from top and above the fold percentage? If you can just share some insights on what these terms mean here.
Yeah, let me zoom in actually to a specific keyword. That's going to make this a lot more clear. And this is something pretty awesome that we have at Nozzle, is once you click into a keyword that you're tracking, you can scroll down and see this is the actual Google HTML that showed up for this term. And then we've overlaid on top of this, here's rank 1, and it's 182 pixels from the top. So we're measuring the actual distance from the very top of the page to the top of the result. You'll see this one is 332 pixels.
Wow.
And that's important in my opinion, because as Google continues to introduce more and more people also ask and other SERP features, its rank is becoming more and more subjective. Some people are like, no, I don't think maps, local map packs should count towards my rank. And some people say, oh, well, this people also ask shouldn't count as a rank, right? Ask 10 people and you'll get 10 different answers probably.
Right.
But the pixels from top doesn't lie. It's just saying, doesn't matter what Google has chosen to put there, this is how far from the top you are.
Right.
And then we even take that a little bit further. We can change some of these columns that are showing. We have another metric called above the fold percentage, where we're actually measuring the total pixel, the height and width, multiply those together to get the area that tells us what percentage of the whole landscape you cover.
Right. Oh, wow.
And that gives a much better idea for, how prominent am I in the search results. And you'll see this cuts down from 4.1% to 0% once we had to scroll down here.
Right. Wow. Okay. This is a lot of data there. Right.
And those are metrics that no other tool offers.
Wow. This is so good. And obviously it could be helpful in understanding which is the top performing websites that we should be targeting to either get a backlink or to at least understand their content strategy.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Wow.
And then we've got a lot of other dashboards on the way that will, we have a local dashboard that we're hoping to ship this week that'll help you understand what's showing up in the local map packs. And for all these different SERP features. So a lot of cool stuff on the way. You can also, I'll click over here to this by keyword. If you've used any other rank tracker, this is probably the only view that you've ever seen that's just a table showing here's the keyword and here's where you rank. And there's typically not much more than that. We're showing history here of exactly where we've ranked over time. And yeah, most tools, it's just kind of these first 5 columns or so. This is where you can see search volume. And
So, if somebody wants to learn more about Nozzle, what are the resources? As you said, you are pushing more into the video content tutorials for Nozzle, but do they already have certain resources where people can understand every aspect of it?
yep, so if you come up to the little help icon here, this will expand and it'll show you a lot of different things. This getting started, we've got an article for each one of these dashboards that'll help you understand it better. Now you can always open it in a new tab if you don't want it stuck in here, but this will, help you get started with understanding exactly what they are. And again, so over on YouTube, we're continuing to push out more content here for analyzing here's a walkthrough of all the dashboards. We've got some more
Awesome.
workflow videos, 4 or 5 launching later this week. I think
Amazing.
tomorrow actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome. This is amazing, Derek. And just want to conclude this with few questions like how many coders or how many people are working on developing the tool?
we've got a dozen people working at Nozzle right now, and
Wow.
we're growing.
Wow. That is so
We've been
amazing.
around since 2017, sorry, 2014. So we've been around for 7 years.
Wow. So
So it's,
yeah, that's a very well established and company that that has been ongoing. Now, what is the most exciting feature you're excited about in the coming months, or what is the most exciting thing you're excited about Nozzle?
I mean, I'm excited about a lot of things. In the next couple of months, our main focus is making it easier to help people get started. So some simplified dashboards, some quicker insights by being able to click on that local dashboard and say, hey, I'm a local business. Tell me the important things, and I don't have to do any configuration or have a ton of, experience in the tool or even in SEO necessarily, right? So making it simple to get quick value out of Nozzle.
Wow. Derek, this has been amazing. I'm personally amazed by the kind of data Nozzle can provide, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be it is already leading in certain spaces in the SEO field, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a big, big tool for all the SEO enthusiasts in the future.
That's the
So
plan.
that's the plan, and I'm sure it's going to happen. So, thank you so much for taking out your time and doing this for us. I'm sure my students and the entire community is going to be benefiting from here. And I'm going to be putting all the resources where they can take the free trial, understand the tool, they can learn from it, and then make the best use of the platform.
Great. Yeah, and like you said, the AppSumo deal is only another 30 hours. So that's a pretty crazy good deal. And we're not ever going to do a lifetime deal again. So don't expect us back for Black Friday or any of these other deals. This was a one-time thing for us to launch our self-service platform. The last 7 years have been all enterprise work. And so, yeah, if you want to take advantage of the good pricing, there's just a little bit more than a day left.
Definitely. I'm going to be sharing my link with the interview, and I'm going to be actually releasing this video today itself so that people can make use of the lifetime deal. And if they are watching this in the future, you guys are unlucky because I'm sure you would have missed out the deal. But the tool is amazing. So, you can always get on the monthly plan as well.
Yep.
Awesome. So perfect, Derek. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be catching up with you soon. Thank you so much for doing this.
Great.
Take
Have a
care.
wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.